besides Andre, who wasn't staring at the track and the many fallen horses. Instead, he was staring directly at Andre while a tarantula was crawling on his neck. Chapter 2. Veronica put her doll in the basket. She no longer had a bed for it since her parents had sold a lot of her toys when they sold the house, and they had told her she had no room for all of them in the RV, so she had to choose. Veronica hadn't complained when they had told her. She might only be 10 years old, but she understood that her parents were in trouble, and she knew they needed the money. That's why they sold the house and most of her toys. Veronica had given them her favorite music box, the one with the ballerina, to sell at the garage sale. She told them she didn't like it anymore, but that wasn't true. She loved that box and had used it to keep all of her treasures, her special rocks and shells that she had collected when they went to the beach together. But what was the use of having a beautiful music box to hide your treasures in if your parents were scared and unhappy? "Now you go to sleep," she told Emily, her doll, and covered her with a dish towel for a blanket. Her mother was sitting by the door of the RV, biting her nails, looking anxiously out the window, jumping up every time she heard a sound. Veronica didn't understand much of what had happened to her parents, but she did know that her dad had made some bad deals and that some bad guys had come to their house one day and told them to pay a lot of money. They hadn't always been poor. They used to live in a nice house with a beautiful backyard that had a huge tree where Veronica had a swing. Her dad had even promised to build her a tree house, but he never got around to it. "Maybe in our next house," her mother had said. "Once we get some money again, it won't be long now, honey." Veronica shushed at her doll and scolded her for not closing her eyes, then walked to her mother and grabbed her hand in hers. Her mother caressed her hair, but Veronica could feel her hand was shaking badly, and it had worried. Veronica wished so deeply that things would go back to normal, and hopefully soon. She didn't need a big house or any more toys. She just needed her mother to smile more and not have that distant look in her eyes. She needed her dad to sleep at night and not toss and turn and moan in his bed. And today was the day when it was all going to get better. At least that's what her mom had told her. As soon as Dad got back from the horse track. Veronica had begged him to take her with him since she loved horses, but her dad had told her that this was no place for a little girl to hang out. She had made him promise that he would take her horseback riding another day soon before she would let him leave. "Sure, and maybe we can get you your own pony, huh? How about that?" he had said. Those were his last words before leaving, and they had filled Veronica with a thrilled hope. "He'll be here soon, honey," her mom said and kissed her forehead. "Just a few more minutes." And just as she finished the sentence, Veronica lifted her head as she heard footsteps outside the RV. Her mother jumped up, breathed a sigh of relief, and finally she smiled that beautiful smile of hers. "He's here," she said and grabbed Veronica's face between her hands. "This is it, baby. From now on, everything will change. Our life will be completely different from now on." Chapter 3. Veronica couldn't stop smiling when she saw the joyful expression spreading across her mother's face. She watched her mother walk to the door, but before she opened it, she peeked out the window, and that was when her mother's face stopped smiling. "What is it?" Veronica asked, still hoping for the newfound joy to return in her mother's eyes. "Is it Papa?" A shadow rushed over her mother's face. She looked down at her, then knelt. "Baby, do you remember the place I told you to hide if the bad guys came back?" Veronica swallowed. She felt like a lump was growing inside of her throat. "The bad guys? They were back?" She nodded. "The closet. It has a secret compartment in the bottom." Her mother was breathing heavily. "Exactly. Can you go hide in that for me, huh?" But, just do as I tell you to, please." Veronica nodded, then walked past her. Shoulders slumped, fear gnawing in her stomach. As she walked toward the bedroom, she turned around just before her mother opened the door. "Is it the bad guys, Mama?" She shook her head. "No, not this time. This is just one man who is with your dad. It's probably nothing, honey, but go hide just in case." "Oh, okay." There was a knock on the door, and her mother signaled.